and welcome to another episode of Jeff Walker Books discussion. Today we're going to be talking about a rather sensitive topic for most of the fans, Star Wars. More specifically about how the franchise is going today. So, rather than talk about the old stuff, which we all know is pretty solid, and Lucas isn't involved anymore, and now it's on to Disney. And so far, Disney has not done a very good job of this franchise now that they've taken over. My thoughts on, well, I'm going to go into a lot of things that I've found over the years of the Star Wars franchise, personally, that have been rather bad, and specifically into the books and stuff. So, right away, I think it's no secret that I'm not a fan of the High Republic. And I'm sorry that I don't share that view with a lot of others who find it great. I don't find it great. I find it a platform for Disney to throw these genders and it's genders, agendas, and these just like I don't know what it is. It's sort of a forced platform for saying, look, we're with you. Come buy our stuff because we're giving you everything you want. And it's being specific to the certain, I don't want to say trend, but the way it's going right now. I mean, Star Wars never really used to be someplace where you could point at somebody and say, this is for you. This Star Wars used to be just for anybody. It didn't matter that they were like pointing it out specifically. It's fantasy people. It's. I understand that this is fantasy for others that don't feel like they're being included in the stories. I don't see how that's possible, to be honest with you, because there's mentions of books of being included in some things, but I can understand like there's no new characters that are geared specifically for that. For those genders or those non-binary people, which I don't know. I can't say that I'm a fan of these books for blatantly pointing it out and then leaving the others in the lurch. You could be subtle without being so blatantly obvious. And doing it in a tweet by calling that gender out by saying, look at these first things we've got for you. That was absolutely despicable to me. To sit there and point in their direction and just go past everybody else and be singled out. To me, that signals that Disney is so out of touch. Especially in these High Republic books. They are so out of touch. I don't understand how people can enjoy these books, to be honest with you. They're not that thrilling. They're not. I mean, I've read the first book, yes, of The Light of the Jedi, and I personally just could not stomach this book. It was not a Star Wars book. It wasn't even Star Wars. It's something else. And it's not Jedi, because Jedi don't act like the way they did. They're too, I don't know, I want to say that they're too overconfident, but sometimes the Jedi are. But I'm just not a fan of it. Let's put it plain and simple. I'm not a fan of books that just, get shoved in your face. And I'd rather work on the story rather than the characters. And maybe sometimes it is the characters that are better than the story. That could be said for Admiral Thrawn, going back now to those books of Thrawn, his early ones. I was never a fan of Timothy Zahn. I didn't like his. I didn't like his books, to be honest with you. I found that some of his characters were pretty bad. So don't think that I'm just singling out the High Republic. I'm not. I'm also getting into the other books as well. I didn't like Timothy Zahn's books. I know there's a ton of fans out there who just love that book and I do. I love the character of Thrawn. He intrigued me. I wish they had focused more on him. And some of the books that have come out that have focused on him now, they're okay. I'm not crazy about them, but at least they did what he did was to focus more on Thrawn. And I can understand when he wrote those books that he was walking a tightrope, introducing a new character, and so he tried to play it safe. But at the same time, he didn't really get the other characters that well. And I had a problem with his handling of Han Solo. I think he just was really clunky in Han Solo's portrayal. And I wasn't a fan of Mara Jade, to be honest with you. I mean, she's in the books. She was canon, and I could accept that part for the most part, but I wasn't really a fan of hers either. But at least they were characters that I could say, okay, I know who this is. In the High Republic, I don't know who any of these characters are. I don't care to know any of these characters are. They're just shills for the Disneyverse. And the fact that these books continue just only proves to me that Disney is a marketing giant that you cannot stop. And people will say, well, why don't you like the books? And it's like, is it because you're so anti this and anti... No, I just don't find them that interesting. The cover of the last one with the two non-binary Jedi, it was plain. It was boring. And it was just like, who drew this? Because they don't look that great. They look horrible, actually. You could have made them in a more better light, to be put succinctly. I mean, they draped them in this purplish kind of background, which to me isn't really neutral. And I think that's probably what they were going for, was a neutral cover. And boy, oh boy, did they ever go for a neutral cover. You could have made them a bit more exciting or more dynamic looking. A painted cover would have been good. A variant cover probably would have been better. But just to have them and looking like they're kill you kind of like look, it didn't really appeal. And then they've got a rock as a there's a rock Jedi, like just a rock, like a shaped rock, not a man rock. That would have made more sense if it was shaped like a being, but it wasn't. It was shaped like a rock. Wow. And he can carry a lightsaber? How is that even possible? And then the ship that they ride is simply called Ship, and it. After I heard that, I was just like, oh my God, like who is in charge of these books? They had a group of people come in, but I think it was like a group of certain individuals they felt that understood and could identify, but instead they didn't. They didn't get the story. They didn't get the bulk of what the Star Wars universe was about. First off, there's no wars going on. It's a Star Wars book. There should be wars going on somewhere, and there isn't. There's all this drama and fluff, I like to call it, because when they make a book and it comes up short, they tell them to fill in the spaces with something. And I can't stand that. I can't stand added stories or exposition that has no rhyme or reason for being in there. It's just, it makes the book less complete. in my view. It doesn't make it any more appealing. So, yeah, I focused on the High Republic a lot because that's the latest ones that are out right now. I haven't read the comics. I have no intent to. I don't. I've seen their lineup, and I've seen the little animanic YouTubes that they had on, and I just felt like just laughing at some of the stuff they put on there. It was horrible. It was just horrible. I don't know how they do it. And they're cranking the stuff out, and they're getting all these great reviews because some of them are paid reviews. These are people that market the book for Disney. And don't be fooled by that. Don't sit there and say, well, this person thought it was great. Well, of course, they thought it was great. Sure, maybe they were legitimate, but maybe they weren't. You can't really tell anymore because Disney likes to fudge the numbers a lot. And now that their movies aren't doing so well, they're trying to get somewhere where they have some level of control. The movies are horrible. I can understand this generation. This generation was not brought up on our generation of movies and books. And that could be said for the last generation that did it on the prequels. A lot of people didn't like the prequels that were from... that used to watch the original trilogy. But those that love the prequels are bashing the High Republic. So it's going from generation to generation. And it's just how it is. You love these High Republic novels, characters, and, that's this generation. That's their Star Wars this year. And it's funny to me that every franchise is like this now. That they're breaking up the fandom. I think they do it in a way so that one wins out on the other. Or they can try to get multi-leveled spectrum of what they could do. I mean, Doctor Who, they have the people that love the originals. And then they have the people that loved the new series that came out. And then you have the ones that loved Dr. Karen, which I call her. Sorry, I borrowed that from somebody. Neurotic. And he's rightfully so, because the ones that came out with her were very bad. Do I have a problem with her being a woman? No, I don't. The woman thing doesn't bother me. It's just the stories and her character were so unappealing. It was just, I don't know where to even begin with that one either. But I'm not going to go into that because I'm talking about the Star Wars. Now, the original books, when they first came out, weren't much better. Let's put it that way. There was a lot of crappy books coming out from Star Wars during that time, too. I mean, not like... They had, licensing control problems back then, and George was trying to get a handle, and just every story came out every which way. Splinter of the Mind's Eye was a good book. Unfortunately, it went in a direction that never happened before The Empire Strikes Back came out. But it was still a good book. Still interesting. And still one of the top ones I can think of that were really good. There were some Lando adventures. They were kind of like books you could also change the ending on some of them. Some of those were pretty okay, but they were... unless you loved the character, you weren't going to get into it. I never really got into it. I may go back and read some of these other ones, but I don't know. Of the newer ones of these years, I did like Claudia Gray's version of the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan prequel book, Master and Apprentice. That was actually pretty good. It was dry in a lot of areas, and I had some issues with some of the things, but on a whole, it was good. It was good. I don't know if I would read any more of her stuff. If I did, I don't know. It would be kind of iffy because even though I liked it, I didn't like a lot of it. But I thought it was still okay. I mean, she had characters that were familiar, that were easy to write, and they weren't over the top. And the story was at least, again, probably a little bit more manageable. And then, I don't know, I'm not reading any of these High Republic books. I don't want to. Let's put it that way. I don't want to. I'm too disenchanted with all this now. I like the Mandalorian series. That was good. But I'm afraid that it may go in another route now. But I try to remain open for some things, but that book series, that was something that they should not have done. I feel like they just did that to piss off a lot of fans, to be honest with you. While at the same time trying to grab new fans. But they're doing it to, like, shirk off the other fans, the Lucas fans, pretty much. Because they want to try to make Star Wars their own and not have it so tied to Lucas anymore, which seems to me rather asshole-ish. You know, like, why would you do that to the person that came to you to handle the franchise? Something that was obviously rivaling your own company for a while there until he handed it over. So, in the long run, they haven't really succeeded in winning me over. I'm trying to think about the other books. Well, there was The Dark Lord of the Sith I read recently. I liked some aspects of it, and a good chunk I did not. I thought The Lords of the Sith was less than what I thought it would be novel about Darth Vader and Palpatine stuck on a planet, you know, trying to defend their lives from rebels, which the rebels seemed so horrible. They were just bad at what they did. And then the two of them got into like this, Vader and Palpatine. They had this side story that just didn't make any sense to me. And I thought, you know, there was so much they could have explored, so much they could have done with these characters, but instead it was just like, I don't know. They kept Vader pretty quiet. And Palpatine just did what Palpatine does, you know, scheme and whatever. And then Vader's trying to lead him everywhere. And it's like they never got into anything that could have been interesting. Wielding more of the dark side or looking into the, you know, questions that Vader might have that kind of put their sort of master and apprentice on edge. There was probably a few scenes like that, but not many. And then the ending of the book was just, I'm not going to spoil it, but I was disappointed with it. I thought it was a waste of an ending. Which is why I get so disillusioned by the books. So it's not just the High Republic. When I read a book, I need to know that the story has some merit. And most of the time, these books do not have the merit. I mean, and I've read most of the books that came out before Disney took it over, and I was not entirely happy. I don't like reading a whole lot of the Star Wars novels just because they're not that great sometimes. The prequel books were pretty good. There was one with Anakin as a young Padawan learner with Obi-Wan. And then there was one where they took on... I remember it. It was the Darth Maul book. That was pretty good. They got into some stuff with that. And I mean, characters like that you want to find out more of. But when it comes to things like that, I don't know. Anyway, for the most part, I've never enjoyed the novels as much as I should. I may go back and read some more of them just to familiarize myself with the stuff that came out pre-2000s. I'd prefer to go back and read those books rather than the new ones. It seems to me like these new ones don't have a whole lot of substance in them anymore. Even the Aftermath books, before the Force Awakens came out, they were just... I didn't care for them. I just didn't find them that interesting. I mean, I wanted to find out how the Empire fell, what happened during that time the Empire was like in retreat. It left me empty. There was nothing there. I mean, I've seen fan fiction with more interesting stories, and to be honest with you, I wish they went and got the better fan fiction writers to write these High Republic books, because I bet you it wouldn't be called High Republic. It'd be called something else. And I don't understand that. I mean, there's the Old Republic, there's the New Republic, and now there's a High Republic. Was there ever a Low Republic? I guess I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated that the franchise has been spiraling into oblivion. And I don't want to see it go that way. To be honest, I think it's salvageable. Disney might see all this reaction and try to correct certain things as they go, but we'll see. I hope they create a new sequel that departs from the old. What I would like to see them is to leap maybe 100 or 1,000 years in the future and start fresh from there. To me, that would make more sense. That would put them enough away from the older series that would give them something new to play with. And to be honest with you, I wish they had done that with the books. Maybe they could have created a new sort of mythos based on the Star Wars trilogy. But they're asking all the wrong people. And the people that are in charge don't understand what they have. And I think Jon Favreau does. He's created a wonderful series of... and he understands the Star Wars more so than most of these other Kathleen Kennedy person does. Anyway, so the book's not entirely happy with them. Of course, this is my opinion. I have the right to my opinion. Doesn't mean that the whole world's going to change with my opinion. Of course not. Of course not. I don't expect everybody to rise up in arms and take over and say, well, Jeff said this. No, I don't expect that. It's just my opinion and belief on where these books are going and where the franchise is going as a whole. We're getting new series. We're getting new movies. Some things are just too much, I think. But we'll see. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it won't. It's just, I think if I was the creator of such a series, I would be ashamed of some of the stuff I've seen. I wouldn't enjoy watching all that hard work I'd created in crafting this universe to be just obliterated by this nonsense. In my books, I would not want somebody to change a character because they felt it deserved it. No, the character is the way the character is. Don't try to change the character because that is the character I created. And I know my characters, and George knows his characters. So that's why I thought maybe Disney should project themselves a little further ahead and not keep falling back on behind. I know they're trying to grab a hold of the older generation like me to the merchandising to the, nostalgia factor. But they shouldn't. They should stop. I think if they want to stop the wound from bleeding out, just stop. And just patch it up, move on. I think that's the way to go in order for this franchise to be saved. By doing another set of trilogies, you're going to create another set of generation people that will not enjoy what other people have said. And it goes on and on like this. It's hard to see why these companies want to break up the franchises so much, break up the fandom so much. Even in comic books, fans were loyal. The 90s was a great time for comic books. So much was happening. So many stories were evolving and bringing in new generations that enjoyed the old stuff as well. And there was a camaraderie there that I think is lacking in this day and age. This generation seems so apathetic. It's amazing to me that they can't respect the old stuff. And they're trying to change the characters that made them so beloved in the first place. Why? Why would you change it? If you don't like it, create a new character that you like. And I get that the High Republic is trying to do that. They're trying to create new characters. And yet they're not. They're trying to create something that's already happened into something, like they're trying to create a new universe within an older one that already existed. In my opinion, that was a mistake. They should have gone forward, not backwards. They should have had another Republic story in the future and not in the back. Because once you start changing things of the past, you start destroying the franchise that made it. So in order to save something, they should go away from it in another direction. And that's what I believe. Star Wars will always be Star Wars to me. I can't acknowledge this material coming out from Lucasfilm. Or Lucas, it's not his stuff anymore. I understand. They're trying to cater to the LBGQ+++, whatever it is now. And it's getting muddled down. It's becoming harder and harder to understand the characters. And they're failing to win over an audience they've had before. They're winning the new audience, probably, reading the books, but not the older ones that enjoyed this. So I'm just going to enjoy the ones that I know. I'm going to go back to the stories I know. And eventually there will be people that will try to bring back some of the older books to what they were, because that's just bound to happen. There's too many people out there that do not enjoy this franchise. I look on the internet and I see all the people that give it nothing but praise. And then at the back, they try to say that all these people were dissing it. And I'm just sitting there going, no, they know what a good story from a bad story. And they know good characters from bad characters. And the fact that the book, I went on Goodreads, and I remember the rating being a lot higher for like the 1 or 2 stars. And now it's down to like almost 1%. And I'm like, really? I don't think so. I think there's more of us than there is of the people enjoying this. But then, again, my view, right? But if you share my view, click like, or, give me your opinion. On my YouTube page or anywhere. I don't really want to do this anymore just because I want to focus on my books now. I want to focus on my books and get away from this, because I'd rather live in my universe than whatever the hell they've got going on out there in theirs. It's just, you can sit there and you can tell me that I'm a hater, but I'm not. It's a book. In the end, it's a book. I'll either read it or I won't. I'll either go, if they made a movie of it, I wouldn't go, because that's my choice. I don't want to see it. I just don't want to experience it, because I didn't enjoy the books and I don't want to see the film. So you just have to accept that. Maybe you would. Maybe you'd enjoy it. Maybe you're a fan of it. Great. Go for it. It's just not my experience with it. Everybody's got personal choice, personal taste. Try not to do that. Try not to push out on other people. I mean, I could be a hypocritical and say, yeah, I push stuff. But all humans have. We're creatures that need identification and purpose for some reason. And we just need to keep on focusing on it. My generation will not accept. And once my generation's gone, you won't have to worry about it anymore. The world changes without any hesitation. And one person's view today might not be another person's view tomorrow. So, what am I trying to say in the long run about the Star Wars? Kind of got off topic there. I think I see agendas within agendas in the Star Wars saga. I think they should get back to what they were supposed to be doing, and that is creating exciting fiction, which is nothing. I've seen nothing of it being exciting. The films, the last sequels, were awful. As a whole, they were awful. I didn't mind The Force Awakens. It had so much potential, and I could accept some certain things. Okay, it was similar to New Hope, sure. The Last Jedi, it had some merits to it. It had some certain pieces I would leave in, sure. I didn't like how they left Luke, though. I mean, Luke, they made him out to be some sort of a-hole, and I'm like going, why would you make the character that everybody loves into like this tragic figure? He was already tragic in the beginning. Like, this should be his ascension, really. And then we got into The Rise of Skywalker, where it was just a mess. It was like 3 films shoved in together, and it didn't work for me. And why the Emperor was there, I just, for the life of me, don't know. I rathered him being an influence. Like, it would have been cool if he was a Force ghost of the dark side. That would have made more sense, that he was controlling, Kylo as a Force ghost, kind of manipulating him, tricking him. In a way he was, but he was in the flesh. And I really wish it wasn't like that. I really wish it was the more, I would have liked to seen him be revealed as Anakin, but when he transformed, Kylo understood that he was the dark side, corrupting him. That would have made more sense. But like I said, it's not a very good film. So the sequels left everybody with a bad taste in their mouth. And so now they have to figure out how to restart it again without, ticking everyone off. And good luck to that, because they're still kind of ticking everybody off with some of the things they're doing. I hope these new shows that they're creating will be entertaining. And we'll see. Mandalorian for sure was entertaining. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I mean, anybody that thinks that they're not going to include the sequels in there somewhere, or just, don't kid yourself. They're going to happen. I mean, they're not going to retcon this. I think what I may do is try to tweak it so that they can explain it, and yet kind of change it up a bit. So that would be interesting. So this is my rant, my discussion for the day. Like I said, if you, I'm not going to put this on YouTube. To be honest with you, I find YouTube to be full of people that just, all they want to do is create chaos. So I'm just going to leave this on my podcast. And I don't know if there's comments there or not, but you can leave it there. But for the most part, thank you for joining me. Hopefully I'm not going to have another discussion of Star Wars ever again. I think this will be it. I think I don't want to talk about this anymore because it's such a sensitive issue. Like I said, it starts delving into like the sexual orientations, the wokeness, the all this. I hate dealing with that stuff because I don't articulate well for that stuff, and it always makes me sound worse than I am. But in thought, I'm not like this. I have nothing against the community. Nothing. It's your choice, not mine. It's my opinion, not yours. You have your opinion, I have mine, and that's just how it is. And that's how it should always be. But I think, for the most part, Star Wars should stop catering to certain groups. Fandom, it's a hard thing to describe now because it's been fractured so much that it's hard to say who's a fan that you're trying to target, because it's not a whole lot of them, let me tell you right now. In total, the Star Wars franchise has become extinct, in my view. I love the regular stuff. I love anything dealing with the older stuff. The newer stuff I couldn't care less for. So we'll just leave it at that. And from here on out, I'm not going to discuss Star Wars anymore. I'm going to focus on books. My books. Because in the end, that's what I'm trying to sell. That's what I'm trying to write. And I want you to go and read my books and judge them for yourself and have your opinion. And in the end, that's what it's all about. I had my opinion about their books. Now you, as a reader, can have your opinion of my book. And if you hate it, that's your choice. But if you love it, join me and sign up on my webpage at jeffwalkerbooks.weebly.com and maybe help and join in and become part of my universe as I start to explore new titles. I thank you very much, and I think I'll sign off for today. Thank you.